It's actually not that bad.
So he says.
It's just been several hours of sitting there.
Alright, so here we are at the finals. We are seeing the respect ban actually out of purple side. We're seeing the Z and Kale bans targeted towards RedMercy. Muno gets first picked over on RedMercy's side. We see the Maokai banned.
Yasuo.
Why? Yeah, I'm wondering whether Yasuo is actually. I guess they're thinking since purple team doesn't have any comfortable Yasuo players, they can just pick that up later. While Mundo's a more highly contested pick.
Right.
Shyvana is still up though.
Yeah, that's kind of a big deal, but I don't know if they're going to go Shyvana and Mundo. If they do, that's going to be pretty mean. That'll be a really big deal.
Yeah. So we do see the Maokai banned out. It seems like teams are finally respecting that Maokai pick over at Team Zot. I'm not too sure about the Nocturne because we weren't able to witness the other games against Team Zot, whether they banned, whether he played Nocturne or not. So maybe they're just trying to ban out the jungler, see if if they can do that or not.
Right. Gonna be Lulu hovered over here. Interesting that they would go for that first. I think they're just looking for counter. Oh man,
there's the Yasuo.
Oh god. They forgot. I think they forgot.
No way. No way. Is he gonna pick up the Jarvan first? I'm gonna be really... Okay, no. For sure, yeah. So they're gonna pick up the Yasuo here with the Jarvan. It's a pretty good combination with the knockups. Yasuo can be self-sufficient on his own usually, but it is very, very helpful for, for him to have someone to assist him in that. Lulu is really good for peeling off of whoever he jumps onto though, so that is certainly something to keep in mind.
Yeah, an Annie versus a Lulu, just in that bottom lane, actually creates for some really high tension matchups down there. There's going to be a lot of poking, long range back and forth, and you got a stun on one side and you got the polymorph on the other. It really gets kind of messy down there.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see what Paprika is going to bring out here in order to deal with the Yasuo coming out of RedMercy. As we know, he is quite potent on Yasuo, and when he gets quite fed, he can do quite a lot of damage to the entire enemy team.
I want to see a Kassadin.
I don't think we're going to see the Kassadin, man. That's that's a weak early game pick. We are going to see the Renekton here to deal with the Mundo. Not too sure how I like that matchup. I honestly prefer Shyvana right now. But it might just be a comfort pick for Lolio, as we've seen him many times perform pretty well on Renekton.
Yeah, definitely. You know, Renekton, I gotta say, has been one of the top, if not the top chosen character in these games. There's no reason to ban him because I don't think he's like that big of a deal, not as big as Nasus. Interesting.
Huh. That's pretty interesting. A lot of skill shots actually coming out of Kennen, so it is interesting. Qs and Ws. Kennen does have a very good early game though, and a lot of pokes, so he might be able to do it. I definitely haven't played that matchup personally, but I can imagine it being quite tough on Yasuo in the early moments.
Right. Kennen is Kennen's just one of those guys that basically you're usually not going to lose. I don't think anybody really can say that they counter a Kennen.
I think actually this is really clever. They might have baited out the Yasuo pick because basically what they did was they picked up Vi first, and there's no one really to peel for that Yasuo. As soon as he goes in the backline, that Vi is just going to ult onto them, and this might, we might be returning to the classic situation of everybody focus RedMercy and we've got it.
Yeah.
Right?
We could be seeing that.
And we're definitely seeing that Purple Team is making it very difficult for RedMercy to ult onto anyone. You can't you can't really get onto Kennen, you can't get onto Renekton. Both of those have static effects around them when their ultimates are active that make it very difficult for him to engage into range with them. Renekton puts out a lot of damage, Kennen stuns him and puts out damage. And Lulu's just going to, he's just going to ulti whoever he tries to jump on, which is probably going to be Vayne.
This is pretty crazy. So we're seeing Kennen for the first time in this tournament. Everybody else we have seen it before. And Yasuo, he's a big boy. Let's see if he's going to be able to get himself scaling up. I don't doubt that Vi is going to be all over that mid lane, though.
Yeah, this is going to be quite the action-packed game. And I think this is pretty evenly matched up. We've got good players all around. There's no really weak links in either team going around here. Zot is on Vayne, so first time we've seen him on Vayne this tournament, and we'll see how he does on that. Most of his comfort champions seem to be like Ezreal and Tristana, but it seems to be that he's going to, go over that instead, take the Vayne.
Right. So Vayne's going to be interesting as well. I think Vayne's a great choice, by the way, against the Mundo. specifically because he can't just stop her from shooting, and he doesn't have an attack speed slow, so she's just going to keep popping away.
Yeah, no gap closer on Mundo anyways. Yeah, this is definitely, I think, a well-planned out team for Purple. They definitely must have talked this one out. The Lulu Vayne is pretty common, as I've said before. Lulu is one of the greatest peel supports in the game, and, you know, as such, Vayne, who requires a lot of peel, would go very well with her.
Right. Going to be interesting to see how that one plays out. Jarvan's going to be also a big determining factor. He's huge. Even still, I mean, this guy's been a big deal since, I think, the end of Season 2. He was just massive, so we'll see how that one plays out. And you've got...
I think most of which will probably decide the flow of this game is we're gonna be looking at middles, Kennen versus Yasuo, and I think from there we're gonna see how the game, like, you know, which team is gonna be more on the defensive side and which team is gonna be more on the offensive side, taking objectives and whatnot. That can easily, if Yasuo gets set behind and doesn't really get any items, that's a big problem for him. Until his static shiv, he doesn't really contribute much to the team, doesn't really have much damage, can't really tank either at all, and so as such, if they can force the early advantage, actually, they have a perfect team for the early dragons as well. That huge power spike at level 6, if you've noticed.
Yeah.
Every single one of them has an extremely powerful ultimate at level 6. Wow, blue team takes a little bit longer to, you know, to get off the ground. Mundo takes a little bit, you know, like I said, to scale. So I feel like, I don't know, Shy might have been a better pick there, but it really comes down to what the players are more comfortable with and, you know, what they've, you know, planned out with their teams.
Now, in terms of lane swapping here, I'm looking at the Vayne Lulu. I'm feeling like that would be devastating against the Mundo. And Renekton, he typically does very well against most 2v1s.
Yeah, as we saw with, like, even just boots, I feel like Doran's Shield, I believe Loyal does take Doran's Shield for the swap. I feel like Doran's Shield should be able to keep Renekton pretty safe from their the 2v1, while Mundo has a very rough level 1 to 5, and that could definitely be a huge thing if they decide to pull it off.
That's right. Now, I love the fact, by the way, that when you're playing against RedMercy, you just don't dare choose an assassin. You just choose somebody that's going to be a little bit better in those team fights than an assassin would be, because assassins are so tough to play in the late game. How do you position in a team fight? With a Kennen, you're just like, okay, I'm going to find all of them if I can, and just ult. Zhonya's, whatever I gotta do.
Right.
So nobody's really doing that. You go Fiddlesticks, you go Kennen, stuff like that.
Yeah, you definitely you're trying to push the team advantage, trying to help the team more when you're playing against RedMercy's team.
Alright.
So it looks like we are getting underway over here. I don't think we'll be seeing an invade from either side. They both have pretty mediocre invades, but, you know, if a fight comes down to a fight, you know, they can both, like, kind of retreat off and stuff.
Now, we mustn't forget about Zod, by the way, because that is a huge player for their team.
Ah, the team is named after Zod.
It's probably going to be a pretty big deal. We'll see if he crushes that lane. He's doing very good.
There aren't any really huge gap closers on Team RedMercy that can exactly close onto Zod very quickly. Yasuo needs a bit of a charge up. I mean, Jarvan's definitely going to try to do his best, but again, you know, you just have a bunch of these huge bruisers surrounding this Vayne, and then this Lulu's obviously going to alter in a team fight. It makes it very tough to take her down. So yeah, the team comp is very well planned out, I'd say.
Now, I think it's interesting that Zed hasn't been banned against RedMercy until those last 2 games. Sorry?
I banned Zed.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Respect ban.
Okay.
Right?
I thought it was always Yasuo.
No, yeah, I banned Yasuo as well. So I banned Yasuo, I banned Zed, and I forced out his Lissandra, right?
Right.
And, you know, he has a pretty wide champion pool, but I feel like he's definitely more comfortable on Zed and Yasuo, and forcing him off of those is, might be advantageous, but Team Zod has a bit of a different plan. Like I said, with the Vi, it seems like they tried to, they successfully baited him into picking the Yasuo probably. They're going to be targeting him a lot with those ults, especially since they eliminated Kale from the champion.
Right. Definitely a good plan there. Now, I don't know how exactly this one's going to play out. I love the skill matchups here. Team RedMercy kind of can, you know, they were at the start, I think, of the tournament, they were the shoo-ins. Like, everybody thought they were just going to take it down. And then everybody's like, well, they're kind of the underdog now. Even going against Placebo, they were like, all right, they're the underdogs. Now against Team Zot, I definitely think that RedMercy's the underdog. But those last 2 games, I was blown away by how good they played.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to say it's dead even.
I'll definitely see here teams buying up pretty quickly going at. Looks like Team Zot is going for the ward start once again rather than the coin start. So that's definitely something.
Yeah. Interesting way to go.
Yeah, we're seeing the 2 sweepers being bought for Team Zot again. They definitely want that map control more than RedMercy does, and that might factor into it. Like I said, I think Team Zot has a lot of team synergy, and they've definitely like started to work these things out and playing like an actual team.
Okay. You know, one thing I'm interested in is why RedMercy does not play, or really any top, and the top laners that we've seen as well. They don't run the red pot start.
It's more of an all-in strat, right? If you know, it's not that hard to play super defensive, as witnessed in several games today. If they pop the red pot and you just sit back and you farm on your turret, then, well, the mid's suddenly down 350 gold, and if you didn't get anything done with it, then that's a lot of gold for first 10-15 minutes of the game.
Right. All right, fair enough. It's almost like kind of showing respect if you don't get the red pot, showing respect for the enemy jungler, the enemy, whoever you're laning against. Basically saying, I'm not 100% sure that I'm going to be able to use this effectively against you.
Yeah, definitely. Alright, so the Lulu is moving upwards, so there is the possibility of that swap we were talking about. Looks more like, though, they're just spreading out. They want to cover all the entrances in case of any invades.
We'll see how that ends
Lulu putting up the precautionary ward at their red buff entrance.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about the trinkets these days, is that you're going to be able to just constantly ward up from that level 1 position, and it starts the cooldown timer faster, so you're going to be able to use that as well as when you're in lane.
Yeah, he did use a full 180-second ward, though, as trinkets are not available during the first, 1 minute 30. And so, oh wow, looks like Team Zod actually wants to go for the invade over here. Team RedMercy going to respectfully back off into this Annie that's just waiting around. Puts up another ward. So it's 2 wards down already.
Yeah, and this has been great to see, by the way, the development of these teams and how they're now, they're taking it more seriously, and they look like almost well-established teams. Like
they're fully functioning teams.
It's awesome. Like, just in the matter of a couple of games, these guys are really getting it together. And that's kind of a message to anybody out there that's watching this. You can create a team, just get out there and play with a full 5s. You really see the differences. Especially if you guys are talking to each other and kind of figuring it out that way too.
Yeah, so we're seeing the bottom start from both of the jungles once again, and they're going to be moving up to the top side of the jungle soon. I don't think we're really going to be seeing any invasions anyways.
And one thing I always note is what the Kennon's going to start and what he's going to max. Typically in mid lane, you're going to want to max the W because you can just land the auto attack. It's a very easy thing to land. If you land a Q, great, and you can just W right off of that. And if it's a big damage spell and you've been leveling it, it actually makes a huge difference. And
we're actually seeing Profika taking quite a beating over here. He did the Doran's Blade start, but to counter that, Yasuo started with the Doran's Shield, and that flow passive really helps him trade around.
Yeah, definitely it does. And Profika is just going to have to, I think, stay pretty aggressive here. If he throws that auto attack, the empowered auto attack, it's just going to be shielded completely off, and it's only going to be the W damage that goes through.
Definitely, for sure. So it looks like both jungles have finished around their double buffs and are getting around to that point. Yasuo putting up some heavy damage on this Kennen. Doesn't look like he's quite used to dealing with how Yasuo moves around in the lane. He's taking a couple free Qs, and Yasuo is pretty much at full the entire time.
It feels very, very bad, I can tell you from experience. So we'll see exactly how it ends up playing out. You can see Yasuo surprisingly being the one who's taking the lane pushing advantage now too. But here we go, gank number 1 for
see, gank number 1, and the flash does come out immediately from RedMercy. Doesn't want to die that early on. And, Yasuo doesn't have the greatest of escape abilities when he's caught behind the creep wave like that. Sure, he can dash for the creep wave, but in the position he was, that only puts him towards the enemy side.
So actually, that's pretty smart from Vi. Hopefully, Ken can take advantage of that. It's actually a big advantage. So one that a lot of people don't consider. I think at lower levels, they don't consider how big of an advantage that is. But Vi will probably head back there down bottom lane, though. Looks like a first gank going off, and it's going to be pretty
huge
effective
amounts
here.
of ganks, and he just barely missed a kill, and he actually picks up the first blood, and 2 kills go down. Wow, RedMercy just barely picks up those 2 kills with 2 very low champions. I thought for sure Team Zot was going to take that one there with that early pink ward, and Zyme having the free gank, basically.
Yeah, that's amazing. So Sivir now picks up the kill. I don't know how Sivir got the kill, but it definitely worked out for her.
Wow,
I think it was creep damage by the end of it.
It was creep damage and the tower shot, and Zot didn't barrier at all. So none of the summoners actually popped for Team Zot, and there's a lot of summoners being popped for Team RedMercy. But hey, it's worked out. They've got 2 kills now.
Yeah, definitely a good call. And in comes Renekton.
Whoa, we're definitely seeing a huge advantage over here.
There we go. That's a kill.
That's a kill. Renekton actually hasn't even popped his pot yet, so we're seeing Loliel doing quite a bit of work on his Renekton once again.
Yeah, this guy is just unreal. Renekton's, you know, again, he's that character. You must be this tall. If you're not able to take on the Renekton, then you probably shouldn't be playing that character.
So we're doing, seeing Perfrica's actually putting a bit of damage back onto RedMercy now. He really needs to work on dodging those tornadoes. He's taking a lot of free damage from them.
Yeah, and there's the auto attack in Q again. And he's just
Wind Wall coming out, you know, just to make sure he doesn't get that 3rd proc off.
Very smart stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so RedMercy here, he's going to be hitting level 6 relatively soon. Both of them are at about half, keeping up very nicely with the CS, kind of taking a bit of a lead, which is rare, but he is up at this point.
Yeah, taking a tornado, I'm just a little worried about Kennen's health level at the moment. If RedMercy does hit 6 first, then Kennen's in a bit of a bind. Kennen hits 6 at the relatively same time, then, you know, he can just ult as well, right? But yeah, so it looks like Kennen will be taking the first back after the Siege Minion wave.
And you can see now the item differences going into that bottom lane after those kills. It's going to be, well, Sivir hasn't gone back to get anything yet, but Annie
We do see the Nomad's Medallion already on the Annie, so she's going to be getting quite a bit of a gold income. Lulu's going to suffer a little bit if they don't make something happen. I mean, that's the thing, man. When you start with that kind of an aggressive inventory of a bunch of wards, you're going to make some plays. If you can't get that, you know, get an advantage off of the map control, then you wasted that money.
Right. And again, Renekton just going real hard on this Mundo. That's what you got to do. You got to get him before he hits 6. Otherwise, he's just going to be a farming machine that you cannot take down.
Yeah, definitely for sure. Renekton pushing his advantage here. 40 CS to 22, and it looks like the kill difference is just not even almost making a difference. The teams are even in kills, are even in gold almost.
All right, and I don't know, man. It's looking really rough here actually for that top lane. Renekton's just punching him so hard, although the rest of the map obviously going quite well here. I can't wait to see when Vayne gets to be able to turn things around. You can see now putting on some pressure. Kennen's heading down towards bottom lane as well as Vi. It's gonna be, I have no idea why they're both down there, but Jarvan's waiting in the wings as well. Yasuo being left alone.
Yeah, they're just looking for that, you know, like again, that power spike at level 6. They're trying to do a 4v2 on bottom really quickly, but that ward does catch them out and they're not quite able to make that play. RedMercy once again just pushes out mid lane. You know, usually what he's quite accustomed to doing.
So I don't know if we're going to be seeing as much roaming from Yasuo, to be quite honest with you. We saw it from Zed, but I think we saw it from Zed because he did it a couple of times in the first game, and then he was just like, wow, this really works on Zed. I don't know if he's going to have the same feeling about Yasuo.
Yeah, and Mundo has hit 6 now, so he's hit that crucial point where he gets his ultimate and regenerates a bunch of health in lane.
Yeah, that.
So we're definitely gonna see a bit of a power swing back here. Renekton probably needs to go back soon, finish up that brutalizer to deal with you know, the Mundo. The Mundo does pretty much now have infinite sustain in comparison.
Right. And feel so bad. Here we go though. In comes with a Kennen ultimate, followed up by the Vi ult. I don't know if that's gonna work out though. Vi really needs to charge up that Q, or at least get it off the cooldown. Nice!
Whoa!
Oh my god.
Great juke
so
out by
good.
RedMercy. Manages to land a tornado. The ignite comes down, and they do get the kill onto him.
Unreal. Such a good play though. Seriously, that was so sick.
Almost managed to get out of there, but you know, with the summoners blown from both sides, 4 summoners to 2, he just, you know, couldn't quite make it out of there. The Zai is very effective at shutting down single targets, and Yasuo is, you know, pretty squishy.
Yeah, and that forces Jarvan to come mid. If he wouldn't have come mid, that would have been a lost turret. Kennen now going ham on this Jarvan, trying to get a lot of damage off, forces him off the turret. He's definitely going to be a lot easier to take down than the Yasuo. Still
yeah, putting down a lot of poke on this Jarvan actually, and the Jarvan might not be able to react to any plays that happen at bottom.
By the way, that's what they were screaming about, because this mic actually might be picking them up.
Man.
So 3 minutes ago we heard them screaming because we are on a 3-minute delay, and that's definitely what it was. It's pretty unreal.
So tensions are high, man. Blood's pumping, and both teams are pushing for that win.
Oh god, the wind wall. I hate it. Stop it, Yasuo. You're so crazy. But we know at
wow, Renekton putting out a lot of damage onto this Mundo. Actually, this Mundo can't just afford to take free hits like that. I know you have that sustain, but I'm telling you, you can still die, and we've seen it many a times before. Mundo overestimates just how much survivability he has.
That's right. Now it's seeming to work out a little bit better for him now. He's 49 to 67. The gap kind of staying the same, not allowing the Renekton to snowball. The ultimate certainly helping out in that regard, but man, it is a very tough fight there. Down in bottom lane.
Yeah, we're seeing a crafty pink ward actually by Annie to ensure that Jarvan has the free entrance into bottom lane. So Jarvan's just camping out now, waiting. Especially now that Annie has hit level 6, they're just trying to get that that huge gank off. I think Vi's hit onto a little bit, and they might be preparing for that counter gank.
Yeah, let's see. She's gonna be trying for a lane gank, and Jarvan obviously has a much better position at this point. The ultimate pop from the Mundo, of course, is just going to be using that to sustain himself up. Ham a bit later. But bottom lane, the tension is building. In comes the Jar. Oh, no,
man,
but
Jarvan misses. Vi goes in. The flash misses the Timbers on the Vayne. Wow, Zot's doing a huge amount of work, but does he have it? There's so much focus going on to him right now. They just can't finish him off.
Wow.
Wow, and a 3-for-0 exchange on Team RedMercy's to Team Zot's. So the counter gank did come in, but they just didn't have the damage capabilities.
Yeah, I think it was just that everybody got scared after the Cataclysm hit, and it felt really, really bad.
Ooh,
well, actually,
Loyal once again flashes, gets the Q, tries to get a bit of lifesteal off, but doesn't quite make it. Does get the kill on Mundo though, and Mundo will lose that experience at his tower.
Zot got a kill. I'm pretty sure Sivir just stepped under tower.
What?
Yeah, Sivir stepped under tower and Zot got a kill, so it was a 3-for-1.
Oh.
Yeah, that was kind of a mess.
Oh.
Yeah, that was weird.
I was like, okay. I'm kind of surprised that they're not diving bottom. They could be pushing Renekton down here, honestly, and just forcing out a tower or a dragon. Like I said, they have the huge level 6 spike in comparison, especially when all their ultimates are up. But, I mean, I guess they're kind of content with what they're doing now. RedMercy does have a bit of a lead, but again, I'm liking the team fight a lot more to Team Hawk.
Alright, now RedMercy going pretty ham here, trying to get a little bit of extra damage off. I don't know if Yasuo necessarily has the ability to just smoke out that cannon in one hitter quitter, but he is going to be getting that static shift very soon, and that is a huge spike in the power. Yeah,
we are seeing that, the 2 kills does have Team Zot down by about 1k. However, the CS differentials, though, we see that Vayne's at 85 while Renekton's at 81. Renekton's doing really well at top lane, actually. So we're probably going to see a lot more attention, paid towards the bottom side of the map. Or, we might see a couple of swings top to try to secure a victory there.
Yeah, you see Mundo doing a lot better in these exchanges as well. All that percentage damage from the cleavers feels super bad against somebody that's big and tanky like Renekton. But,
oh man, we have Vi coming in here, but there is a ward, so he definitely knows about that.
Yeah, nice escape from Paprika, by the way. He's going to get away from the gank from the Jarvan without burning flash.
Yeah. Ooh, huge stun goes on there. We have that wombo combo at level 6, and this is the problem with Vayne. Oh man, Lulu still has her ultimate. She didn't use it for Vayne?
Yeah, that's bad.
That's huge.
So 2 kills for the Annie. Not the character you necessarily want him on, but sometimes you just don't have that option.
Yeah, you take what you can get, right?
Yeah, that was a really good exchange. And it's Zot, by the way, the team captain, that is losing the lane against not the team captain. And Paprika gets jumped on, forces up the flash.
Yeah, against the Cataclysm, that's flash. You either have it or you die.
Unreal.
So 1k gold lead still going on over here for Team Zot. Bot tower is getting dangerously low, actually. It seems like Sivir and Annie could push that down with their next go. Gold lead is actually, it's only 1k. It's still relatively around the same amount, so this could be anyone's game at the moment still. One team fight could really decide it. RedMercy, a bit of a miss there. Probably would have gone in if he managed to hit the knockup.
Yeah, and you can see Kennan's a little bit rattled at this point. He knows that the rest of his team isn't doing quite as well as they could. And again, I'm kind of using top lane as an indicator, but Mundo really pushing things forward here. Only about 20 CS behind. We hear some crazy stuff in the other room. I'm looking forward to the 17-minute mark now, but RedMercy gets jumped on here. Cannonball comes in as well.
Flashes out, doesn't matter, he gets the stun.
No, don't do it.
No, okay, he's done. He does get the Vi flash out, not really necessary, but they do manage to get the kill onto RedMercy once again.
Good
stuff. Kennen getting a bit of a gold lead there. Looks like they're trying to put some pressure onto this mid turret. They want that positional advantage. Gotta be a little careful though.
Yeah.
Rafika is really low. Wow, I'm surprised he's following.
I think he knows that the Cataclysm isn't up, so they're just going to be comfortable with that. Unfortunately, leaving lane, not working out so well. It looks like
they're making for that dragon play. Now. It's a little surprising considering now that we know that the levels, the ultimates for Vi and Ken are both down. Annie and Sivir moving, and they get the dragon, but Vi goes down.
Wow, Annie again.
Yeah, definitely Annie again.
6-0. She's almost legendary. Holy cow.
Not necessarily a good thing though, because inevitably that Annie will get shut down, and that 500 gold is going to be a huge swing back in Team Zot's favor.
That is true. However, for the time being, you can see she is building a lot of damage right now. I can only imagine what she's going to go back for. She's got those spell pen boots as well as the codex.
Yeah.
Gonna look forward to what she's gonna pick up.
Definitely, and it's pretty good for Team Zot to pick up that dragon. Keeps them up in the gold a little bit since they are down a tower at the moment. Sivir and Annie do have a bit more of a tower spike at level 6. And that fight at top was Mundo just barely gonna scrape that out. Yes, he is. Unfortunately for Nectin, can't exactly pin him down. Wow, they're pushing really heavy onto this tier 2, and there's just not that much that they can do. This Annie just going so deep on there. Whoa!
This is gonna be nuts. They're gonna continue the fight.
Huge mistake, I think. They tank so much tower damage. Lulu still has her ultimate. I feel like Zot could have gone a little deeper on that, but he just wants to keep it safe at the moment, as he is Vayne, does suffer from a little early game weakness.
Yeah, that was a little bit nuts. I don't know if I would have went for that if they weren't that strong, but you can see really utilizing their advantage. 2-1 and 6 for the Sivir. Holy cow. Imagine
Bottom lane has 8 of the kills on RedMercy's team. They're doing phenomenal, actually. Might see the Annie respect pan out next game. Who knows? Or she's giving him a lot of trouble. Yeah.
Because Annie definitely is a character that most supports know how to play these days.
Yeah.
Okay, so 104 to 114 in the mid lane in favor of Kennen, and almost the same thing in bottom lane in favor of Sivir. This is a really, really tight matchup, though. About 2k in the lead here for Team RedMercy. I don't know if they're going to be able to utilize it, keeping in mind that a lot of that lead is on Annie right now.
We see that huge power item actually just coming out for Vayne. She has purchased her Blade of the Rune King. Vayne is a traditional hyper late game carry, so we'll definitely see, if they manage to make up this gold differential for what's been going on in the early game.
Yeah, but a needlessly large rod now for Annie. She really is just saying, okay, you know what, this isn't going to be a standard build, but who cares? In comes Kennen again with the Vi, and they're just making those stuns work.
And they do pull it off!
Wow, but Annie
Vi
is
is
so
low. Sivir really wants to finish it off, does flash and get the last hit on it, so they once again trade RedMercy for another kill. Man, RedMercy's just been getting pummeled in these fights.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
Yeah, it's huge. Oh, Vayne gets caught out!
Yeah, and
that's
there we go.
huge!
Cataclysm goes down.
Lulu tries to go in, she wants to support her Vayne, but she can't really go in. Annie and Sivir both cut her off.
Zot seems to be getting away from this one. I don't know if I would have tossed my flag there if I was the driver, and I would have waited up for the flag.
Yeah, they would have been able to get... Oh.
No way.
No, okay. Yeah, I might have been able to get the kill onto Vayne over there if, if he saved his flag toss.
Okay, so Sivir now heading down towards bottom lane, just going to farm up that wave. Seems as though... So, 7-0, my goodness, this Annie, KS Master, but seriously, now with that needlessly large rod, she is shelling out way more damage than she should. If she saves up and lands the Tibber stun on at least 2 characters, that is going to be a huge, huge lead for them.
Something I really want to notice, actually, notice how the gold difference is now 3k, but that's only because RedMercy's up 2 towers. Tower gold difference can be made up very quickly depending on how one team fight can go.
Yeah, and then comes another fight where Nectin just... He cannot do that much damage.
Oh man, here comes RedMercy coming in.
Is it going to go down, though? He's looking to line up that ultimate. Still hasn't used it yet.
Nekton doesn't have his ultimate up. It's just not quite enough. He gets the ultimate off onto Vi, but that's not quite who he wants it on. Kennen is moving up now. He might be able to get the cleanup.
I don't know if this is going to work.
Lulu gets caught once again, and the Annie is now legendary.
So strong at this point. Kennen's going to try to defend this top lane. It looks like Lolyo is going to have to go back. Was a little bit afraid of the Mundo Cleaver, and that's going to delay him a bit. Now 3 characters top lane. They need to crack that turret, and they definitely
going to be able to crack that turret. And it looks like, man, Team Zot really suffering over here in the mid game. They just really don't have the position to fight at all.
This is absolutely crazy. Kennen's going to head back now. They're not going to go for tier 2, but this map is cracked wide open here for RedMercy. They've got all 3 turrets down, and typically when that happens, you're going to be looking for more objectives and to group, get your teamwork on.
Yeah, Kennen has made a huge power purchase now, though, as well. He has purchased the Hourglass, which gives him huge survivability in team fights. He doesn't need to really worry about backpedaling at all. Renekton is actually still doing fine. It's most of the kills are on the Annie. You just have to remember that 8 of the kills are Annie. There can be a huge power swing over here.
Massive turnaround there.
I managed to get the shutdown. He does get the shutdown onto the Annie, and we are going to see this Sivir is going for the 1v2. Is she going to be able to pull it off?
Oh my goodness, the exhaust was so strong, but she's gonna get it.
And she does get the double kill.
But so in the end, it does go 3 for 2, but it's still very impressive coming out from the Sivir.
Finally managed to get the shutdown gold on Annie. Not quite onto who you want it though. Vayne a little preemptive there, to be honest, going in. Should have waited for the Vi a little bit.
Down goes this red buff, no problem. He's going to be floating around to defend this mid turret. It's going to be interesting to see how this all works. I definitely would like to see more just straight up raw 5 grouping.
Oh man, Renekton.
Yeah, I think he's going to be
You're in deep.
Yeah, he's gonna have to deal with Yasuo on the back foot, but he's going to be able to slice and dice. He's going this way now.
No man, he's going down fast. Mundo is chunking him, and he's just taking so much damage. All it's not going to be nearly enough to get him out of this. No.
Yeah, RedMercy's just going to probably pick up this kill. They should hand it over to RedMercy, and they do end up getting it that way.
Yeah, Renekton too deep in there without any really proper ward coverage. You, again, that's a definite issue when you lose your tower up top lane. It gets very dangerous to stay there.
Yeah, and you can see a flash being forced, actually, from Jarvan. For some reason, Flag tosses back in there.
Interesting.
Yeah. But let's see what happens next. Lulu kind of roaming around, but as is Annie Sivir, they have not left each other's sides at this point. Dragon is now alive, and we've got Lulu kind of floating around here. She's going to get caught up. I don't know if she's been spotted or anything like that. Down goes the revealing trinket, and Reckless Schlong is going to keep chopping away here at the Dragon.
Yeah, Lulu, I don't know, but definitely been caught out of position a couple of times. Oh, and they did manage to force a disengage there, which is really good because Annie had to take a whole bunch of free damage. Sivir had to take a whole bunch of free damage from Dragon. So it looks like they really want to force this Dragon fight out now.
Yeah, and it seems as though the position is going to be in favor of Team RedMercy. Team Zot gets in there, though. Nice.
Oh, man, the instant melt onto the Sivir. But, man, they all get caught inside the Cataclysm, and RedMercy is just there to finish up. It's a 5v4. That is not a good fight for them.
Definitely not. And that's going to be turned around very quickly. RedMercy jumps in there, starts chopping down this Dragon. Unreal fight, and this is going to be a problem. We've now got RedMercy on Yasuo. 3 kills under his belt, 4 assists, and a 140 CS count. It's going to be really rough.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. Lulu could have used her ultimate that fight. It's off cooldown.
But still,
yeah, she got she got melted over there. Yeah, it was a 5v4, and it's just definitely not the best fight. To
And so now we're going to see RedMercy just chopping away at this tower. I'm not sure he's going to be able to crack it, but he's going to at least be able to put on a lot of damage so that next time they come around to it, it's going to take a little bit less time to kind of get that down.
Yeah, this bot lane not really working out for Team Zod. They tried something new here. Maybe it might go back to more of their comfort picks for game number 2. But we'll see how it works out in the very end. Vayne is still a hyper carry. And, you know, for a 21-9, they've actually kept the gold lead pretty relatively, you know, it's alright.
Red buff goes down here. It's going to be still everybody floating around here on the same side of things for Team Zot. But RedMercy's team, as soon as they group up, it's just a massacre is going to go down there. Let's look at Annie. She's got a Deathfire Grasp. Wow, she's going to be pumping out some heat. And
with 9 kills and 9 assists, this Annie has all the money in the world. I would not be surprised if she's out-farmed the enemy jungler. at this moment.
Yeah, 8,100.
8,100 gold. She's ahead of the whole other team.
By a good amount.
Monstrous.
Holy cow. Actually, more than 1,000 than anybody on that team. That's ridiculous. Although that also comes down to the global objectives.
Yeah, definitely 3 towers and a couple of dragons for RedMercy, and they've got really nothing picked up yet. So they grouped up here, and it looks like they're just going to give up top, but they really need to get something done if they're going to do that. They can't just give up top tower and then, you know, waddle around.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how
Kennen getting caught a little bit. Does pull off the ultimate, and RedMercy will flash out of that.
Yeah, I would take the ultimate trade for the flash. At this point, anyways, as long as you're comfortable with not fighting for the next little bit.
Yeah. Man, Team RedMercy manages to take down the tier 2 at bottom. They're pushing for a tier 2 at top. They're pushing for a tier 3 at bottom now. They gotta do something about that Sivir-Annie duo.
Yeah, definitely. And you can see how much damage those cleaves are doing. Doesn't look like a lot, but when you've got that many bars of health, it is a serious amount. Now bottom tower actually gets dropped here. Vi coming in. Does get spell shielded on the vault, but the ultimate will go through. Ken is going to pick up that kill. Top lane still duking it out pretty hard. In the mid lane as well, Lulu trying to hold off 2 characters. That's not going to last very long. As that turret gets dropped, lots of good things happening for Team RedMercy right now.
Yeah, Mundo gets his ultimate back up and he's just continue pushing on to this. RedMercy's just going to come up behind him and finish up the kill. It's going to be pretty easy pick up in a second. Ignite does come down and Jarvan will finish up the dive. Not really anything to follow up here.
Yeah, very nuts, but the ultimate will go down. Unfortunately, RedMercy, I think, feels like he does as much damage as Zed, just does not at this point. Lulu ultimate goes down. It's going to save Vi. Giant fists there, but they will lose this top tower.
Yeah, teams are just not really in position actually to deal with that at all. If they were grouped up a bit better, then that team fight would have gone a lot better for them, but, you know. They've got their hands full trying to deal with this Annie Sivir at the moment.
Not for sure. Now, the ward coverage is in favor of Team Zot. Unfortunately, they just can't do anything with it right now. The tower advantage is a serious lead for Team RedMercy, and that's where a lot of this 11,000 gold advantage is coming from.
We went from a 6,000 gold lead to an 11,000 gold lead just because of the 6 towers in difference that they've managed to push out. There are no outer turrets remaining for Team Zot. They've got 2 inhibitor turrets and an open inhibitor actually.
Yeah, one scary thought is that now Annie is actually starting to farm creeps as well, because she's basically saying, you know what, I'm
an AP carry. Yeah.
To be honest with you, like, it almost might be worth it to have her start farming over top of Sivir, because
she's got almost as much gold as RedMercy, mate.
Yeah, that's absolutely nuts. And has more than the top lane Mundo.
Yep.
Gross. So, you know, they need some magic damage. Might as well get it from your support. It looks like, though, Kennen's gonna get a stun on Mundo. It's just
not much, man. He's unkillable. Oh my gosh, Ross. Not gonna be able to make it out of there whatsoever.
Like
Fortified dies as well. Yeah, this looks like a quick finish actually from Team RedMercy. We probably should be moving on to Game 2 relatively soon. RedMercy looks like they want to close this one out as fast as possible. They're already pushing onto that inhibitor turret. 2 are still down from Team Zot, even rallying 3 back. It's just not enough at the moment to deal with them.
And one other thing as well, now Annie with this much ability power is going to be able to push and crack turrets very quickly. So, let's see how this turns out, though. It looks like Kennen diving in there, trying to get something done, but gets blown up. Sivir in the background, trying to get away from that one. And it will be a couple of deaths going down here. Vi gets the ultimate from Lulu. However, is she going to be able to contribute? Mundo gets exhausted. Definitely not the character you want to use that on, but will get a kill regardless. Now Vayne.
Then doing mad amount of work in the back once again. Oh man, are they able to finish off this Mundo though? He flashes.
And by the way, the third proc on that W from Vayne was on its way, but it actually reset.
No, Mundo pulls off another ultimate. He'll get out of there fine. A relatively good team fight for Team Zot actually, but they lost the inhibitor anyways. And it's just the problem, right? They fell behind, and Team RedMercy is pushing their advantage now. They don't mind if they lose trades by a kill or 2, because they're always securing an objective off of it.
Right. The map looks so clean, so barren, and that's because of how few turrets are on the red side of the map. It's just the creep waves coming down and a couple of wards sparsely spread out. Let's see now if it's going to be able to be turned around. If anybody can do it, it will be Zot, and it's going to be Zot on Vayne. I don't know if this build, honestly, at this point is where it needs to be. He was forced to buy those home guard boots to try to defend his base, and that's going to set him back even more.
Nowhere close to like a Phantom Dance or anything. Can't really kite that well against a Mundo. It's just, it's just a nightmare for him at the moment. Mundo has finished his core of random. He's going to get a random in soon. He's already got a Sunfire and a Visage. Renekton's doing a lot of work in the back as well, but he can't kill everything on his own.
Yeah, Jarvan's score, by the way, is absolutely huge. 1-0 and 11. So he's been doing a lot of work. It looks like trying for the steal. Reckless Schlong almost gets it down, but Vi, of course, there with the smite, and oh my goodness,
oh
the
man,
Sivir.
the chase is coming on.
Cleaver.
Sivir ulti comes on, and man, you're just not able to escape. What did I say about that Sivir ultimate? They're all going back into the fight with no health. They can't do it. Renekton goes down, Vi goes down, Lulu's about to go down. Kennen and Vayne are nowhere to be found.
Yeah, and you can see it's Paprika on the back foot there. Can't really do much about it. RedMercy just diving in there, absolutely ham. Now Kennen's trying to get something done. Does pop a very nice
man, can't get him. The burst damage from Annie now is just too much.
Yeah, there's just not enough damage.
Yeah, this looks like a GG for game one. They can easily close it out here. There's 20 seconds until anyone else other than Zod comes out here.
This felt like a quick game, but in reality it was a 30-minute game. So, surprisingly,
oh
the
man, it's just
because
we've been going through so many long games.
There we go.
So then, I don't know, I feel like the nerves might have got to Zot a little bit of an underperformance for that game.
Yeah, bottom lane.
The Kennen pick, it was okay, and he did okay, but you need more than that to deal with that. You need to be able to roam around. You need to be able to help your other lanes out, right? Yasuo can always lose the early game and come back mid to late game. That's his specialty.
Yeah, and definitely was a lot of pressure on that bottom lane. So we'll see if what's going to happen with Game 2. But I can only expect that it's going to be something similar, because RedMercy is on a roll right now.
Yeah.